Obviously, it'll be our first chance to talk about the bad news that happened last week. Jose Ramirez with the hamate bone injury.
So we were both on yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm curious, before we jump into wherever we're going with this, just your overall impressions on Jose and how big of a, this is obvious, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But I think the overreaction has been.
I was out of town for the weekend, so what you think the reaction was like? The season's over?
It's catastrophic.
Oh no.
And I don't.
He's not even done for the year.
That's what I'm like. He'll be back around the trade deadline. I don't want to downplay it because it's significant, but I don't think that what we just talked about, what they dealt with last year, way worse than this.
Baseball has a lot of issues, but the one thing that baseball is much better than the NFL and the NBA. No one injury, none, makes you say it's over. In the NBA, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right? In the NFL,
Halliburton.
Right. Exactly. It's over.
Giannis goes down with the calf.
If you lose your best player in the NBA, your season's probably over.
Yeah.
If you lose your quarterback in the NFL, your season's probably over.
Mahomes. Yep.
You lose your best player in baseball, it's not good.
Yeah.
And if he's out for the year, it's really not good, but it's not season over.
Yeah.
Every year Scuba it is.
But they were playing lousy even before Scuba got hurt.
I've just been really surprised by the reaction.
Yeah.
Guys, he didn't get his leg cut off.
No.
He'll be back in
and the
6
hamate
weeks.
injury can often zap power even when you come back.
Yes. I said the fact that its left is good because it's his bottom hand. That's the power hand.
Right.
He doesn't bat as often right-handed because against lefties. He's more of a lefty. So I think that's better that it's his left hand and not his right hand.
I wonder if he would consider just hitting lefty the rest of the season.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think that there's people panicking. I think that they don't have a name or names in their mind that say, okay, well, if Jose is out of the lineup, who are we counting on? Where are we going? There's no readily available, okay, well, so-and-so has to pick it up. It's like we already know that they're kind of young and they're kind of challenged when it comes to generating offense.
I don't think I don't think you can point to one guy on the Guardians and say he's got to pick it up.
Well, that's the topic, Mike. That's the topic Mike wanted to get to.
Right. Mike, you want to talk about, who is the guy that steps up?
Who feels more pressure, the pitchers or the hitters, right? I got it right?
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, a jumping off point to get into all of this as they begin life tonight against Milwaukee. Yeah. Luckily, they're not facing Mizorowski in this series.
They're not facing Harrison either, who's been really good for them, too. By the way, the Brewers are the
Guardians
of the National League.
100%.
They're a team 100%. But it's even more impressive because they have to deal with the huge market Cubs and the somewhat big market Cardinals who play. Whereas the Guardians don't have the other, the traditional big market team. And the Brewers, everybody picked the Cubs to win the Central except for me this year, by the way. And the Brewers have a 5-game lead in the Central, 7 over the Cubs. But it's fortunate that they don't do it. But the Guardians actually had a good weekend. They won both the games against Detroit, which was nice because they've been playing lousy baseball before that. Obviously, Sunday got rained out, so they've had 2 days off, which I think is good timing. I mean, they got rained out Sunday and they had Monday off, okay? Now, White Sox are playing good baseball, and kudos to them. Maybe they'll end up being better than I think.
I said yes. They're not running away with the division.
They're not going to. Jason, look at their pitching staff.
I know. I know
what's his name has had a great year. I can't think of their pitcher that's been really good.
Davis? Yeah, Davis.
I can't think of his first name.
For Chicago?
Yeah. Who's their starter? Davis.
I'll pull it up.
Drawing a blank on his first name. He's had a tremendous season. There's no way he's keeping it up for the whole year.
They don't have a dominant bullpen. They don't have a
Davis
dominant
Martin.
His first name is Davis. That's right. He's had a tremendous. The rest of their starters haven't even been that good.
Yeah.
Sir Anthony Dominguez, nice relief pitcher, has done an admirable job as their closer. And they got a young stud arm in Grant Taylor there who's good. But top to bottom, their pitching staff is very flawed. Their lineup is okay, but it's even without Jose, I don't know if it's better than the Guardians.
I don't think so.
Right. So they got some nice young players like the Guardians do.
Murakama's out,
they've
got their own injuries.
He's been their best player.
Yeah.
The Montgomery guys are both good.
Yeah.
Nydroff is a nice player. Miguel Rojas has been good. But to me, they're a 500 team, maybe a little better. So, okay, the Guardians will have to survive without Jose. How do they do it? It's got to be a team effort. If individual players start saying, well, I got to pick it up. If they start putting too much pressure on themselves, the whole thing will fall apart. These guys just got to play to their best of their ability. And the bats have been cold overall. Even in the 2 wins against the Tigers, they didn't score many runs. I think they've only scored more than 4 in one of the last, 8 games, and they scored 5 in a loss to the Yankees. But it's got to be a collective team effort. And guys who have been mostly good this year, like Rocchio, like Angel Martinez, like Schneemann, like Bazana, and like DeLauder, they have to play pretty well here.
And Manzardo's been better.
And Manzardo, who's been way better lately.
Here's the thing. I think when he asks between the hitters or the pitchers, I think the pitchers have to step up, because if you're guys like Chase DeLauder, there's no incentive. I'm not pitching to you at all. I'm not. He's not going to see nothing from me. If Jose is not in the lineup, he can't protect none of these dudes. So I'm not pitching to him. I'm not going to give him nothing good to hit. And so at that point, I think the runs will drop a little bit. So it'd be lovely to see Tanner Bobby get back to what he used to be, or what our expectation was. Right. Because if you do get Tanner Bobby to step up, you got Gavin Williams and you got Messick. Then you start to say, okay, well, we don't need to count on Travis Bazana or Angel Martinez to, play above what their level is. So to me, I do think it'll take a step back. And I think the pitching has to be very good, because I think that the hitting will be a little stymied in terms of the lineup and the lineup reduction with Jose out of it.
Yeah. I said yesterday, how many times have you and I written off Gabriel Arias?
I thought he was done.
And here he comes.
He's going to get another chance.
He's going to get it. I said yesterday, he's like a boomerang. No matter how far we throw him, he comes right back around.
I wonder, how they've been playing Velasquez and Engel in the outfield?
That's coming. I believe that's coming.
What?
One of them's coming.
Okay, so do they consider, especially if Arias stinks when he comes back?
Engel at third?
They consider Engel at third?
I don't think Velasquez
Do they consider Angel Martinez in the infield? He was an infielder.
He was a second baseman. Yeah.
Could he play third?
I'm sure he could.
Then you could just call one of those guys up to play the outfield and move on Angel Martinez. There's a lot of things to consider right now.
If Cooper Engel is athletic enough to catch and play the outfield,
think he could play third?
He could play third. I would rather start there, actually. I would rather put Cooper.
They had Rhys Hoskins in the outfield.
I know. And they've jerked Angel Martinez around so much from second base to the outfield.
Yeah.
Stop it. Just leave him alone.
Yeah.
I would give Engel a little bit of a run at third base in Columbus, see how it looks, and give him a shot there. What do you got to lose?
haven't checked out Cooper Engel's stats for about 5 days. I know he'd been sizzling hot before that. I don't know how the last 5 days have gone, but obviously Ralphie Velasquez has played well too.
I would be interested to ask Zach what he thinks if Velasquez could play third.
Well, check out Ultimate Cleveland Guardian show tomorrow at 8:30 live. We'll talk about all of it and the ways to replace him. But no, don't panic. Is it a bad thing that Jose Ramirez got hurt? Of course. Is he their most impactful player? Non-pitchers certainly, of course. But the season is not over. This is silly. He's not, like you said, he'll probably be back by the All-Star break, which is a month and change. He's not going to miss that.
No, he won't be back by the All-Star break.
Or after the All-Star break.
The trade deadline. Trade deadline's in August this year. It's pushed back. It's early.
Well, you're really talking about
no,
the All-Star break's like July 20th.
McNuggets.
Okay, the trade deadline's August 3rd.
McNuggets.
That's a pretty big difference.
You hear what they talk about?
What's up?
We'll see.
I'm thinking it's like 3 weeks.
No,
what
not
you
3
mean?
Weeks. It's like
this August.
I think they said 4 to 6 weeks, right?
Man, y'all playing around.
Yeah, a month would be rushing it. I think 2 months is probably
2 months.
Were you here yesterday? We talked about this yesterday.
Maybe this went over my head.
2 months. The trade deadline's about
2 months.
Yes.
I saw 6 to 8 weeks for Jose.
Panic.
6 to 8. I thought it was 4 to 6.
Panic button.
It's still not
super panic button.
You can survive.
August?
No.
That's fine. Even if it's August.
No.
Hey, man, listen. Whoever steps up, and wherever they get these runs from, I will come back here and congratulate
Nobody's
you.
running away with the division.
That's right.
The other teams are still far behind.
Yep.
The Guardians, yes. The pitching's going to have to be really good.
The Twins are going to sell at the deadline. The Tigers may make a run, but they got a lot of running to do.
The Tigers are stupid if they don't trade Skubal. You got to get something for them.
Let's pump the brakes. Let's see.
Let's
see where they're at a month from
now. By
now.
the way,
they're 9.5 out in a bad division.
Where's DeLauder at? Is he? Did we get anything on his ribs?
No, it'll come today because they were off yesterday.
Today they were off yesterday.
Yeah, they got everybody banged up over the weekend.
Yeah.
But it looks like everybody else is going to be okay.
I mean, Harold Reynolds said the season's over.
Harold Reynolds said
yes. I saw a clip this morning of Harold Reynolds saying, like, this is the end of the Guardians. I'm like, are you nuts?
They're scrappy. I'm not going to say the season's over.
Who's running away with this? The White Sox are going to run and hide in the AL Central?
That's exactly what I said yesterday.
But we are Cleveland-centric, right?
Yeah.
People in Chicago are probably saying the same thing about the Guardians.
Not smart fans.
They're like, well, listen, Jose is out. Who are we scared of when the Guardians? They got some nice young players.
Nah, they're realistic. Actually, one of my podcast producers is from Chicago, and he is a White Sox fan. I bust his chops about it all the time, even though they're playing better than the Cubs are. But he still thinks the Guardians are going to win the division.
Yeah.
You ask any, I'm shocked. Harold Reynolds maybe just got lost his mind for a day.
2 months is a long time, man. A lot can happen in 2 months.
I'd still be surprised if the Guardians don't win the Central.
I would agree.
Even if I don't think it's going to be 2 months. Even if he comes back at August 3rd trade deadline, it's still not complete 2 months. With the All-Star break in there, you're talking about probably 40 games.
McNuggets, what are the Guardians' offensive numbers right now?
He'll miss 6 weeks of games.
Where do the Guardians stand offensively?
In terms of what?
In terms of all the ones that counts.
Where are they in OPS? Where are they in OPS?
Let's forget the entire MLB.
Look just in the American League, because all the best teams are in the National League for the most part.
Well, they're 27th in overall.
Yeah. Look just in the American League. I mean, they got to be near the bottom.
Dead last. 15th out of 15 in OPS.
In the American League?
Yeah.
And you lost, and you losing your best hitter for 2 months?
I didn't realize they were dead last.
Where is this coming from? I don't get it. I'm confused. Like,
where are they in ERA in the American League?
Pitching, American League, ERA. They are third.
The third in ERA.
Well, there you go.
The pitching's got to have to carry.
I was surprised by
carry them.
I'm shocked they're 15th.
I am too.
They've probably dropped a lot in the last couple of weeks because they haven't hit well in the last couple of weeks. How far are they? Who's in 10th, Mike?
The Angels with a 709 OPS.
What's the Guardians' OPS?
689.
Really?
Man.
How's it that low?
I don't know. It's worse than I would expect.
Yeah.
I'm on ESPN. And look here. Tell me I'm not wrong. Guardians 15th, 689. Confirm for me that I'm looking at this the right way.
Yeah. Can't confirm.
Okay.
The
pitching's going to have to do it, and just, everybody's got to play better. That's it. That's got to be a team effort. But the season's not over. And when Jose comes back, the Guardians, if they're not in first, will be close enough that they'll be able to make a run.